Welcome, welcome everybody to the Chain Gang, very first episode.
Yeah,
Thank you for
this is
listening.
the hottest show on the blockchain and your number one guide to the cryptocurrency revolution.
And other technological innovations that may run parallel to Bitcoin or not.
Yeah, or just random things.
Yeah,
Criminal
we're
investigations.
we're just two random fun guys that like to talk Bitcoin and other things, and we're just so darn charming that a podcast was necessary to capture it all.
Yeah, yeah, we feel you deserve us. Okay,
Absolutely. And I just
so
like to
what?
start off the podcast by saying that those other Bitcoin podcasts, they're all terrible. And
Yeah, don't even look at them. Don't
no,
even check them out.
no, I was listening for about a 10-second uh, span of time, and then I started getting all Ark of the Covenant, eyes melting and everything. So yeah, we're gonna make a good podcast.
Yeah, well, Brian, you actually had some luck on a game show podcast. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I was on uh, Take My Bitcoin. I sent them a message on Twitter. They had me call in. I answered a simple question and 1.3 Bitcoin. And they
Do
wanted
you,
my social security number because there's going to be a a tax on that. But yeah, it was a fun time, exciting to make a little Bitcoin.
do you remember the question? By any
Well,
chance?
it was something about um, coins are made at a blank, and I just said mint. It was
Ah.
even the way they phrased it was even more obvious than that. So it was kind of a no-brainer. Like I said, I think it's just an excuse to get the word about Bitcoin out there, and they've had some celebrity guests um, and comedians. So I think
Like yourself.
like don't touch your face. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay, great. So what should we talk about first?
Well, there's this controversy going on at Bitcoin Miami. Apparently, there was a speaker that people did not want to speak. The CEO of Paycoin, also the guy in charge of GAW miners, or is it GAW miners or GAW?
I don't know.
The world of Bitcoin is
Yeah.
filled with these things
Goth.
you don't know how to pronounce, like Mt. Gox, MT Gox, but
Yeah.
apparently,
Magic the Gathering.
oh yeah, well yeah, I still don't understand where that originated, Magic the Gathering and Bitcoin. Um, there's probably an online Magic the Gathering site that accept Bitcoin. I mean, really, the internet and Bitcoin have made anything possible. But
Well, I mean, the story is that it was a Magic the Gathering trading engine where an exchange, online exchange, and when Bitcoin came out, they had the clever idea. They already had a good website for making trades, so they sort of adapted it for Bitcoin, and so it became Mt. Gox.
right, yeah, why buy a
Yeah,
new domain address when you've already got your own good stuff going on?
yeah,
Um, so I guess I mean, Reddit has just kind of there's been you know, a big response to this guy attending the conference and speaking. And so what it looks like is going to happen, or when is this conference? Is this next week? Uh,
I don't know.
it's take place on January 16th. Yeah, so
Okay.
the event organizers added a 30-minute Q&A after this guy speaks, so people can sort of confront him with ask him questions and as they say, shine some light on it because light is the most effective disinfectant. I don't. I always
Yeah,
screw up those.
I mean that seems kind of unfair to boycott a whole conference for out of for one dude. Like just don't go see him, right? Is that an option, or how do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it is $150 for to join the conference, and the idea of paying that money just so you can go to the conference and confront this guy, it does seem like can't we make it? Can't there just be like sort of a public ask me anything on Reddit or some some way that the general public can, I mean, without it getting completely out of control. Lord knows the internet can sort of go nuts when accusations are being flung. But I don't know. I think, well, I was just in Florida, but that was for a brief vacation. I'm back in California. I'm not going to fly all the way back to Florida for a Bitcoin conference. I don't have any money right now, and uh, you know, I think,
Please donate to the show.
yeah, if you're listening right now, for the cost of a cup of coffee a day, you could
Yeah,
feed a starving podcaster.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Do you have any like future plans for events coming up, Bitcoin related in 2015?
Oh no, I plan to attend any that are local. I mean, you and I went to the Vegas conference, and that was enlightening. We
That Yeah, that was a good time, and it's exciting to sort of be right in the center of it, and be shaking hands with these people you've seen on the internet or seen interviewed. It was pretty interesting. And our friend
yeah.
Roman came along. He writes communist manifestos. Like he's sort of for those listening, he's like sort of a prophetic theologian
Yeah.
and philosopher, and so, but he doesn't let that on usually. But
That's the thing about being involved in Bitcoin. You meet a lot of idealists. I feel
mhm.
like I feel like we should have a segment on this show. I don't know how you feel about this, but it'll be Ask an Anarchist.
Ask an
'Cause-
anarchist. I like it.
yeah, because there's no shortage of Bitcoin, Bitcoin enthusiast slash anarchist.
I wonder, do you know if you know how sometimes people like will trade human babies on the black market, and like those babies usually have a social security number. Do you know if anarcho-capitalist babies have a social security number? Like, do those cost less if you try to buy a baby on the black market? uh, I mean, you know a lot about this, right?
Yeah, I think Well, I mean, we'll save this for our segment. I don't want to give away
Oh,
any
okay, yeah, let's
answers.
let's not jump the gun.
Yeah, but so what? So back to this paid-based GAW miners thing. What else do you know about this guy? I mean, what I read on the internet, he sort of promised a floor of $20 for, I guess, sort of shares in this mining company. I don't know if it's cloud mining or uh,
Yeah,
do you know anything else about?
well, I mean, yeah, it looks like cloud mining, and a lot of um, companies have done that. I guess the difference here is that with other cloud like CEX.io and other cloud mining ventures, I guess you actually, like, for all intents and purposes, actually rent the hardware that's doing the mining, whereas with GAW miners hashlit program, it's not clear what you're actually buying. Like, you're buying theoretical hashing that would get
Yeah.
distributed to you from their operation. It's the terms of service are kind of iffy, and obviously this isn't just one person's opinion. If enough people decide that it's scammy, it's probably not just one person's opinion. It's
Well,
probably a legitimate concern.
well, he has. I mean, I've seen some post about him. His name's Josh Garza, and he apparently he has a history of sort of scamming. There was a couple, a husband and wife, who tried to become involved with him in a business venture, and uh, apparently they were, double crossed by him, and that stretches back 10 months ago. So, I mean, they're sort of documenting it all on Reddit. I just can see there's several Bitcoin talk posts, and so I'm surprised that anybody was able to be scammed by him if he has such a rich history of scamming.
Yeah, there is a whole lot of like alternate narratives, and like, well, if he's such a notorious scammer, why would he still be out in the public, out in the public eye doing these ventures? Why wouldn't he just take the money and run? Like, I mean, it's impossible to get to the bottom of these sometimes. I'm sure, one of our thousands of faithful listeners has probably done their research and probably looked into this and has, a solid conclusion about what's going on. But, let's have him on the podcast. Let's ask him,
Yeah.
and, get his side.
Well, I'm just gonna make wild accusations based on no evidence,
That
based on
sounds
what I
like,
read on Reddit. So.
I mean, that would be unheard of on the internet, and internet reporting, but I say go for it. Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody has more information, or if you've ever bought any GAW or GA miner shares or whatever, and you'd like to enlighten us, please email us, and we'll leave the contact info in the bottom. So yeah, so Brian, were you able to see the Bitcoin bull?
Yeah, I caught a little bits and pieces at at a bar at the hotel I was staying at, and it was, yeah, I would just see BitPay and Bitcoin on the TV screen on a football field, and I was like, well, this is a little bit different than 2011. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
It's reaching the masses. Do the masses care yet? That's a different story. I think that was definitely a good call because um, you know football is huge, NFL is huge, and those are probably the people that haven't really been paying attention to Bitcoin or even heard of it yet. Whereas,
Yeah.
if you were to sponsor, a TechCrunch conference or something like that, those guys already know what Bitcoin is. They've probably been paying attention to this, at least recently. And so to sort of get the word out to the masses, it gets people talking about it. It gets the mass, doing their own research. Now, they can just be on their smartphone while they're watching football, being like, "What the hell is this Bitcoin thing?" Or I heard that was a scam. Let me look more into this now that they're sponsoring football events. Maybe this isn't as scammy as I thought. But I don't know. Did you? I mean, I wasn't even paying attention to the teams. Did you? Did you catch any of that?
I heard it was a good game. I totally missed it. I'm not a football enthusiast. I'm not even into NFL, so I'm not going to watch the college football. But yeah, I did. I did see a lot of people tweeting about it. It was trending on Twitter for a while, and I saw
Oh
that
yeah,
the
I tweeted with the hashtag Bitcoin Bull because it was the perfect time for me to insert a quick little thing about Murray Coin. Hey, by the way, everyone's paying attention to Bitcoin today. Check out Murray Coin, the alternate currency that has Bill Murray on it.
yeah. Um, so I mean, do you think it really brought in? I mean, how effective do you think the Bitcoin Bowl will be? In addition to just sponsoring the event, they also had commercials, 3 different commercials. I saw one of them, and it was terrible, but so it was sort of it's supposed to be funny, and
Was it like a
it wasn't.
mycelium? Did you see the mycelium wallet psychedelic ad? Like, there's some weird
Yeah,
stuff out there.
it looked like your typical not funny commercial. Just
Mm-mm.
there was some thugs walk into like some sort of, I think it was a restaurant or something, and they're supposed to be the credit card companies, and they're demanding some credit card fees or whatever. And she's like, "Sorry, I accept Bitcoin." And he says, um, "Bitcoin, these are bit bros." It's just not funny. Nothing about it was funny.
But it looked like a legitimate, like it looked like the normal budget for a commercial during a football game, right? It looked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It definitely looked like a high quality commercial.
Well, and you're well, I guess, yeah, I was picturing like some guy, trying to steal someone's wallet and then be like, "You can't steal my brain wallet," and then they like chop off, remove his brain and like sort
Yeah.
of explore it and try to find his secret code in there. Um, do you utilize a brain wallet? Do you like where are you storing your Bitcoin and how do I access them and how can I hack you?
Well, I'm pretty into paper wallets. So I keep all my Bitcoin in paper wallets, but it does, sometimes it might keep me up at night because, they're flammable and uh, but in general, like I'll keep Bitcoin online too. I'm not super paranoid, and it's I'll keep some Bitcoin online, reasonable amount that I know that I could possibly lose. So I sort of spread out my eggs in several different baskets, and I figure, uh, yeah, one of them is probably bound to fail, but not
Yeah,
all of them.
that's probably the appropriate way to go about it. I still have one physical Bitcoin, and I let's see. Well, I don't know. Times are tough. That might be my only Bitcoin left. Is the one casacious Bitcoin in physical form.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we're definitely not Bitcoin rich. If you're listening, don't be
yeah,
envious.
by no means we're enthusiasts. We do own Bitcoin, but it's funny though because so many different things going on in the Bitcoin world are related to getting people to use Bitcoin, but a lot of the time, uh, like people are hesitant to part ways with their Bitcoin because they think it's going to appreciate in value. What do you think about the whole depreciation? I mean um, the deflationary aspect of Bitcoin. I mean, there was someone talking about it at the Las Vegas conference. I don't think I got to hear much of that. But what do you think about that aspect? Do you think that's something we're going to solve, or is that going to be here to stay?
What is that a problem? The deflationary nature of Bitcoin? Like, I
Well,
think,
I guess it's the problem for well, for one thing, it's a problem for creditors because they don't know. Well, it's just depending on how much it changes in value. Like whereas like a large amount of currency like the U.S. dollar, there's so much of it that it's not going to fluctuate. Bitcoin is basically acting like a commodity at this point, um, with limited amount,
yeah,
like gold, but you know really gold could be used as a currency too. So
yeah,
it's a weird dynamic that I think a lot of people are they see Bitcoin going up 10% or dropping 50% in 1 month, and they're just like, this is too bizarre. I don't want any part of it. So I don't know if there's going to be some sort of, I don't know, stabilization fund or something. I don't even know if that's
yeah.
possible.
Well, I mean, I think Bitcoin has one advantage over the dollar or gold in that it's absolutely predictable how much there's going to be. So, in that way, the price might stabilize even more. I mean, everybody seems to be confused about what makes the currency stable. Um, but I think if you know exactly how much it should be worth, I mean, eventually people will, they realize there's only going to be 21 million, and so the price is going to reflect that fact eventually. Uh,
At least
and
we
it
sure
may be
hope
a
so.
problem. Yeah, it might be a problem. I know Vitalik Buterin from Ethereum seems to think it's a real problem that the amount is capped, and that may be in, but if we could cross that bridge when we get to it. I mean, the amount of the total amount of bitcoins won't be released for another 120 years, and right now actually Bitcoin is inflationary because in a sense because uh, you know every day so many thousands of bitcoins are created. I don't know exactly how much, but Yeah, I
Well,
don't
and
know.
it's
It's really interesting. I would love to get to the bottom of this whole what makes a currency stable, because if we sort of take the dollar out of the picture, the Bitcoin is only volatile relative to the dollar. So supposing it does become this international currency, I mean, it might sort of you know, replace the dollar and be like one coffee is point zero, you know, 0.01 Bitcoin. You know, everybody knows that, and so that'll
oh yeah.
be sort of like a reference. You know,
Oh yeah,
it'll
I mean, from your mouth to God's ears. I think that's what we want. but
yeah,
uh, and also I think yeah, once it becomes
point zero
be
zero one.
oh yeah, right there. The
How
I
about
think
bits? Do you think? Oh, sorry, I'll let you finish, but I have a question.
oh yeah, I was just thinking yeah, once it reaches like the international masses, then I mean the volatility right now is a lot has a lot to do with the changing number of people that are using Bitcoin, and so instead of it changing from 10,000 people or like 5,000 people to 10,000 people, which is like a 50% increase in the number of people using it, it'll fluctuate between like yeah like 1.2 million people and 1.125 million people, and so with the way the regular currencies are now, um, it's not like all of a sudden Australia decides, let's start using the yen tomorrow. Like it's not like a huge amounts of people are changing the amount of currency of a particular type they use. But anyway, yeah, what were we going to talk about bits?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll get back to this conversation. It's really interesting, but the bits. A lot of people have been pushing for the adoption of bits instead of Bitcoin. That's what you see with Change Tip. Um, it's for me, I haven't wrapped my head around the value of bits versus. It's much easier for me to think in whole Bitcoins. That could be because that's what I've gotten used to. Um, but how do you feel about that? Do you think that will ever be dealing with bits instead of Bitcoin?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, yeah, it is sort of a matter of familiarity. When you ask if programmers, computer programmers, if they started with C++, that's their favorite language. If they started with Java, that's their favorite language. If you started with JavaScript, that's probably going to be your favorite language, no matter how many languages you learn. And so, yeah, Bitcoin, it sounds good. That's what we've been calling it this whole time. So I'm for keeping it that way. But I guess, yeah, I guess if people who haven't been involved with Bitcoin the whole time suddenly get involved and they're calling the shots and are putting all the venture capital into Bitcoin related activities, then if they want it that way, then it might end up that way. And
Yeah,
no matter how many people on Reddit scream otherwise. But
yeah.
I don't know. So I want to keep it the way it is. What about you?
Well, I would definitely want it to change because even though I'm used to using the Bitcoin, sort of denominating it in whole Bitcoins uh, prices, I if there's something called the unit bias, where um, you people don't want to purchase a piece of something. They don't want to buy zero point zero zero 0.001 Bitcoin, and it's hard to think in decimals. People don't like doing decimal math. Just basic.
No.
Myself included, and or even seeing several zeros. Um, on the other side of that decimal point. So there's that unit bias that would, if people are thinking in bits, they're like, wow, I can just buy 1,000 bits for $1.
Yeah.
And that's much more appealing than buying 0.000, whatever
That's a good
point zero.
point. Yeah.
And so I think that would definitely benefit us as Bitcoin holders. I think people would be more inclined to purchase it, and it also would be funner to throw around, like, oh, hey, here, check it out. Here, have 100 bits. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wow, thanks. 100 of them. Wow, thank you. Instead of, oh, here's 0.00001 Bitcoin. I think people would be kind of maybe even offended by that.
Yeah, and
uh,
I have been I have received a few tips, via um, change tip on Twitter, and that's always fun. Oh, look, 100 bits coming my way. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I think well, and I still like Satoshi. I like that. I like that. One the smallest unit of Bitcoin is a Satoshi. I still like that term,
Yeah.
but I guess the masses will speak. The people who use Bitcoin. It's just so funny because I think we're not probably not going to see as big a wide adoption until the other currencies start to collapse and show their true I mean, like, the end game for a fiat currency, as far as history is concerned, has always been collapse and devaluation, and but the U.S. dollar and some of the current currencies, the devaluation has been so slow and hard to notice that no one's really panicking. No one's grasping for this decentralized, autonomous currency yet, and that's a big
Yeah.
yet. So I
Hmm.
don't. But then again, the future's kind of hard to predict. So
Yeah.
so
Um,
do we have an anarchist baby we can talk to yet, or no?
I'm trying to get him on the line. Is he ready yet?
We'll
Our
have to hit up
producers
some.
are working on it.
We'll have to hit up some orphanages next week.
Yeah.
See if any of them
Well, there's
have
a
been.
somebody who has really, I think, has interesting thoughts on this is Daniel Krawitz. I think
Mhm.
that's how you say his name, but he believes that the reason we haven't seen sort of the collapse of several currencies and like this central, adoption of just one currency is because the banks of the world sort of collude to not let that happen in several different ways. And
That's true. That's a good point.
yeah, yeah, and I can see that. And because it seems that there's several countries that are really trying to avoid the use of the U.S. dollar. It's always being sold in the black market in
Oh
you
yeah,
know
and
Cuba
China.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
China and Russia have all these new trade agreements coming up that where they don't use the U.S. dollar and try to avoid it as much as possible. And
yeah.
yeah,
I
like
think
in
Putin
South.
called it a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Lord knows he's not that off, but
yeah,
I don't know about the ruble either, so we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. So yeah,
What
it'll
about
be going.
Oh, well, I was just thinking, I don't know if the ruble is backed by any gold, but most people are starting to think that maybe the U.S. dollar. Well, it's not tied to the gold standard anymore, and we don't really know what's in Fort Knox. It could be gold-plated tungsten, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know what Russia has in their reserves. But do you think also a lot of gold bugs are getting involved with Bitcoin, or at least will in the future?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's one guy, I forget his name, who is very Peter Schiff. Yeah, he was very anti-Bitcoin, but and he would sort of argue against the fact that Bitcoin isn't backed by anything, whatever that means. And he would argue. I think he had a really good debate with Eric Voorhees on another show called another podcast called uh,
Called Our Show Sucks, right?
yeah, some lame
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, it was a Canadian one, but yeah, it was really good. And Eric Voorhees is really, really, really good at arguing with Peter Schiff because he comes from the same school of thought. And uh, but anyway, so Peter Schiff is this gold bug, and he sells like um, you know one of his products was he was promoting was this like gold that you could break up. So he's like, now you can use gold at the gas station and everything. And
Oh, like
um,
those Hershey bars you can break up into little Hershey bars. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. So he's like, this is the most innovative product, but this Bitcoin thing is stupid. Anyway, but yeah, so but he actually accepts Bitcoin donations now.
Hmm.
So I don't know if he's sort of I think I think in the Bitcoin world, we are sort of like drawn to people that are anti-Bitcoin. So I think that brought him a lot of popularity and a lot of attention. Um, and he's a pretty smart guy or whatever. And but yeah, I think he feels there's also like the sense that he's nervous about this Bitcoin thing. Like, is it going to ruin my, gold business? My gold,
Oh yeah, I
and
mean, if I
I
hold
think gold bugs feel intimidated by it.
oh definitely, yeah, if my whole livelihood was based on gold and people wanting to continue to buy it, then yeah, I'd be freaked out. And it's funny though, because the idea of accepting Bitcoin donations, because so many different companies are doing it. Wikipedia is doing it. Um, Mozilla is accepting Bitcoin donations, and it's it's because it's so simple to set up, and people express interest in donating Bitcoin to you. Why would you turn it down? And so, even if he didn't give a flying hoot about Bitcoin, he can still. Why would he turn down the opportunity for people to donate Bitcoin to him? Because it's so, you know, I think that's one of its allures, is that it's simple to use when you're already doing internet commerce.
Yeah.
But have you?
Oh,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
Have you? Well, you don't have a you don't sell anything online right now, do you? Or maybe like on eBay or
no,
something.
no, but I do accept donations.
Oh, of course. Yeah, me too. I
Yeah,
mean, I know you were going to get your QR code tattooed to your forehead, but you're still
yeah,
saving up to. Well,
yeah.
you could probably do the installment plan on that tattoo. Just get like half of it done first. But
Uh-huh.
all
Yeah,
that's
it's
your
a
business.
catch 22 because I want to get, I need to fund the tattoo, but I can't, I don't have the QR code on my head. It's just,
Ah, man.
yeah, so I'll have to figure that out. And um, yeah, so yeah, I've noticed that donating is something that I do now. Now that I have the power of Bitcoin, it's sort of like I donate because it's so easy to do. And you're like, oh, wow, look at this. For example, it was really cool. I was looking for like some sort of PHP HTML template, and I found this website, and they make these like, I forget the name of the program. Um, and I went to their website and I was sort of researching it. I didn't really understand exactly what it was, but then I saw that they accept Bitcoin donations, and it was just cool to see, like some place that I wouldn't expect or just to stumble upon on the internet. Just kind of tells you that, wow, this thing is sort of catching on online. And actually, I sent him $1 just to show some support to a sort of open source project that accepts Bitcoin. I wish I could plug them right
Yeah.
now. I forgot their name.
Oh yeah, and
So
that's
so
that's
cool.
one of the that's one of the big, yeah, that's one of the things that Bitcoin is so perfect for. And I think it was Satoshi Nakamoto who said Bitcoin is magic internet money. I believe that was that him?
I
Someone
don't
said
know. I
that.
know that. Yeah,
And it's
but it's
true.
accurate.
It's magic internet money. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but I don't know, like, and you seem to understand the blockchain pretty well. You've been spending a lot of time learning about it and how to use it with your some of your programming abilities. So like, what do you
Minuscule
like?
programming. Yeah, I go.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, so do you think? I don't know. Are you working on anything right now? Anything?
Yeah, I'm actually working on something that it's going pretty good. I'm just kind of playing with a counterparty API and
Hmm.
doing some stuff with that just to play around. That
And
really interests me.
is there somewhere that the public can go look at that and make a donation to you right at the moment?
No, but you know what? You can go to I made the Murray Coin paper wallet website, which is a fork of BitAddress. So it's murrayaddress.org,
Yeah,
and you can donate Murray Coin to me if you
awesome.
happen to own Murray Coin. So you know all about Murray Coin, Brian. Why don't you? What's going on with that project?
Oh well, for those not in the know, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't know about Murraycoin by now. It's all the rage. But in case you haven't heard of it, it's for our listeners. It's uh, yeah, it's sort of it was um, an altcoin. It's an alternate cryptocurrency that has Bill Murray on it and has his name attached to it. It's not specifically endorsed by Bill Murray, but as far as I can tell, the legal framework was done so that no one's going to get sued. You know, they're allowed. The developer was given permission to do this project and to make Murraycoin happen, and then there's sort of a donation fund set up for people who want to donate Murraycoin to the Murray Brothers Foundation. And progress has been a little slow. They tried to talk to Bill Murray directly last year at his charity golf tournament, and they weren't able to get to him. He's a pretty popular guy, and so things sort of slowed down since then. But a new website is supposed to come out to replace the old boring one pretty soon, and I think there's going to be, well, there might be merch. There might be I don't say the whole word merchandise because I'm hip, but I think there might be merch, and there's well, you're responsible for the first paper wall. That was an exciting innovation, but so I would tell people to go out and get excited about Murraycoin, but at this point you should just occasionally Google Murraycoin and see what's going on, because I think it could be, Dogecoin started out as sort of a joke, and people are like, but people just sort of, they love the Doge, so they turned it
Yeah.
into a popular currency, and people love Bill Murray, so we shall see.
We're not here to pump and dump on you folks.
Nope, I specifically am not trying to do that, because even though I think Murraycoin might have a lot of potential, I'm not gonna make any promises, and people can do their own due diligence.
Yeah. So do. So the one thing. Oh yeah. Did you see Bill Murray on Ellen
Oh no,
DeGeneres? She was
I
on
haven't
there.
seen that yet. The
He rarely
how'd that
makes
go?
public appearances, so it's really surprising to see him. I don't know what I was watching Ellen for. Don't
Well,
judge
it's
me.
okay. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you can. I mean, we're
Yeah.
friends. It's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
the well, and he was working on some sort of Christmas special with Sofia Coppola. They worked together on Lost in Translation, of course. So I thought there was going to be a Christmas special this year with Bill Murray. I was pretty stoked for that, but Christmas has come and gone, and I didn't see singing any Christmas carols or anything. So maybe that's next year, or maybe I dreamed the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
That's too
I
bad.
don't. Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. Like, are there any? Well, I'm trying to think of like celebrities who are involved with cryptocurrency. Because Bill Murray has openly stated that he doesn't Google anything. He doesn't. He's not internet savvy. He doesn't. He probably has, maybe he has an assistant that Googles something for him. I don't know. But he has specifically said that he's not with the latest technology. But I'm trying to think of people who
Well,
are. I
there's people
mean,
that are sort of becoming celebrities because of their involvement in
that's
Bitcoin.
right. That's right. Yeah. Well,
And
and
but there is a musician. Let me see if I remember his name. He's a country artist.
Two
Um,
Chains.
no. Well, okay. Well, yeah, 50 Cent
50
said
Cent,
he would.
yeah.
Yeah, 50 Cent. He said he would accept Bitcoin.
Yeah, for his new album, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And then a country singer, yeah, I think, yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head who that was.
So I think he's going to change his name to .50 BTC, but we'll see about that.
Well, and
Definitely more cash.
yeah, well, oh yeah, and yeah, and yeah. So instead of 50 Cent, yeah, we'll have .05 Bitcoin, and Two Chains is changing his name to Two Blockchains. I understand. Um, but the well, and at the Vegas conference, we saw the CEO of Overstock.com speak, and he was kind of, I don't know if he like took in a private helicopter and landed on the roof or something, but he's kind of a big deal in the business world, not just in Bitcoin, and so he's an example of a celebrity who's getting involved with well, and what about the CEO of Virgin? I feel like he.
Yeah, he's plugged Bitcoin a few times, said some
Yeah,
positive things. He's
and
sort of cautious, but yeah.
yeah.
Shooter
Well,
Jennings, that's what I was thinking of. Shooter
Shooter
Jennings.
Jennings, yeah, yeah, he's a legend.
He actually knows more about Bitcoin than I do, I think. He's really he like ran a full node on his computer and
Oh well.
yeah, I mean I think he was sort of into computers before he was into music. So he's really into the Bitcoin scene, and he thinks it's sort of going to be the answer to the problem with selling music. The problem with the music industry right now, with people are
Oh
sort of
yeah, yeah. If you sell a song on iTunes for $1.29, well, first of all, you don't get to really choose how much you want to charge for it. It's kind of up to iTunes how much a song costs each, and then how much of that 99 cents or $1.29 are you gonna see as the artist? Yeah, I mean, who knows? But yeah, with
yeah.
this peer-to-peer, you know, it's you could charge whatever you want, and and I know you've been interested in um, issuing sort of coins for different artists, so you can sort of back your favorite artists. And I don't know, do you have any Tatiana coin? I don't have any Tatiana coin.
I do have Tatiana Coin.
Yeah,
I do. I don't know if that's the sort of the way to go about it, but I'm glad to see people experimenting with that because it seems like a great way. There's some websites out right now like where you can sort of uh, you can like subscribe to an artist you like and you sort of give them a monthly thing and you get something in return. Um, once they start accepting Bitcoin, I'll definitely hop on that. That sounds kind of cool.
yeah,
Uh,
and I like the idea of removing all these middlemen, because I think more and more as people get their music digitally, the recording industry and all the money that they sort of that go to them. I mean, we don't need them anymore. It's become ever since the internet and high speed internet is enabled. Pearl Jam, they released an independent album on on their website at one point. I think they might be back on a major label now, but the major labels, we don't have a need for them. We don't have a need for the major book publishing companies. We don't really need them when we can do everything on our own terms. When you can have when an independent entity can be as successful as Simon and Schuster or Virgin Records, we don't really need them. And so I like the idea of more of the money going directly to the creators and the artists.
well, this is how I think it should work. I think I think blockchain technology enables this, but it's actually illegal. I think people should be able to buy shares in an artist that they believe in. So like so not only do you like an artist, but you want to capitalize on hearing about them before other people. So I think it should be like that, and that would be great because then you could like sort of scope out the new upcoming bands and you buy their shares. It could be in the form of a crypto token, and you buy their shares, and then you hunt down all these great bands and sort of you find them early, and then you sort of as people go uh, get more into them, they you make money on that, and as he becomes more popular, or you get dividends. This is very, all this stuff is illegal right now, but I feel like it would be the perfect way to do it because there's always those people that are like, I heard about that artist first, I knew about him before he was cool, and those people would be, at least they would have something to show for it instead
Yeah,
of,
here's proof. I was into them when they were underground, and like I'm not
yeah,
just saying that. Here's the transaction ID. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm about to sell all these shares or whatever because you don't think they're going anymore. Um, what else? Yeah, and yeah, that would be great for the artist because you'd be able to fund them and sort of their profitable ventures and be rewarded for it. I think that's how it should work. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
illegal.
Now I know um you are friends or Oso, the performance artist known as Oso.
Yeah,
He
also in the Indian.
he's expressed interest in maybe having his own cryptocurrency. Yeah.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. He's kind of yeah. So I have to talk to him about that, and we have to figure that out. Hey, Brian, did you know that today, 6 years ago today, Satoshi mined the Genesis block at 8:15 GMT?
No,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
and yeah, wow. And coincidentally, or by by the will of the gods, we started our first podcast episode on this day. So
Yeah, I don't think that was a coincidence though, because I think you're the kind of person who has like these very calculated, uh, life decisions. Like
uh,
you knew exactly when the day that your son was going to be born. Like you knew, like you pretended not to know about Bitcoin for a while, and then all of a sudden you learn about Bitcoin. And I know that you've got like thousands of Bitcoin stashed away somewhere that you're not telling anybody about. That's fine, that's your business. But
maybe I
yeah,
am Satoshi Nakamoto.
well, I knew it,
Yeah,
but it's so it's such the idea of sharing a public ledger on on an open network that's secured with cryptographic hashes. I mean, once you've sort of learned more about it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Why didn't someone come up with that earlier? It's
yeah.
pretty brilliant. On the other hand, it's kind of straightforward. Like so many people studied computers and cryptography. Why didn't someone come up with that sooner? But there
Yeah.
had to be a single point in time when it did come into existence. So that's exciting that we're recording this on the anniversary of that.
What do you feel about that? Like they say a lot of people are feel like I mean a lot of people complain about the wastefulness of hashing and SHA-256 hashes. Do you think this what do you think the future of mining will be? Do you think
Hmm,
do you
that's
think
a good.
do you think mining is ever going to be like serve a purpose besides sort of
Well, yeah, that's a good question because there even before Bitcoin, people could use their computer processing power to solve for math problems and other research um, that required millions and millions of calculations that a computer was suited for, and so you could donate your computing power, and so then the trick the trick is then how do we take this algorithm, this SHA-256 algorithm, and convert that, use that for something that's unrelated to Bitcoin. That would be cool. Or if it's still just related to Bitcoin, how can we be more green about it? How can we make it more efficient? I think that's going to be that's going to be up to the experts, though. We're just two
yeah,
very
that's true.
enthusiastic individuals, and um,
Yeah.
I think we made a
I mean,
simple.
does that bother you though that it's sort of wasteful? I mean, I know it goes to secure the transactions, but it's
Mhm.
sort of does that bug you? It doesn't really bother me. I mean,
No, I mean because
if
and as solar technology improves and we're less dependent
if you break it
on
down,
on
we're basically converting energy into currency in a sense, in a very like
yeah
mathematical
and
way.
money itself is technically supposed to be a store of work. Like when I work 1 hour, I make $10. So my computer works 1 hour and makes 0.001 Bitcoin or whatever. That's a store
Yeah.
of work, and so it makes perfect sense. It's just um, well, I don't know what's how many watts does the human body use? I mean, like I know our circulatory
47.
systems.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I know
Yeah.
we use electrical impulses in our body, but I don't know how much. I don't know what the hashing power of the human body is. So it's not
Yeah.
it's not quite the same thing. but yeah, it
One way
certainly
to
doesn't
do it is
bother
by
me.
hand. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Oh
well.
yeah.
So what do you think? So it's the beginning of the year. We have 2015 ahead of us. What do you think what do you think this year holds for Bitcoin? What do you think will change for cryptocurrency and blockchain?
Um, well, let's see. It seemed like a lot was going on in 2014. I don't know if that was just my perception or if that was in actuality an explosion of activity. But yeah, so much was going on in comparison to the previous year, at least, and as far as I could tell, 2015. I think we're going to see more weird stuff, not weird stuff, but attempts to bring Bitcoin to the public, like that Bitcoin bull. I think, um, there's going to be, unfortunately, there's going to be more Bitcoin scandals, and people's computers getting held hostage for Bitcoin via spyware and viruses. I don't know. What do you think? Do you have a grand vision for 2015?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind yeah, I
What's
think
what's
well I just read I think well yeah, definitely it's sort of becoming this is going to be the make it or break it year for Bitcoin in my mind
Yeah.
cuz if it can't go any further, if it can't pass this sort of threshold of adoption, then maybe it'll sort of um, not go anywhere. There's always a possibility that Bitcoin will sort of become integrated into the back end of things, but I'm really hoping to see like a sort of killer application where people really feel that they need Bitcoin. Like right now, I
Mhm.
need Bitcoin for my own convenience and things that I could do with it, like donate and sort of buy things online. But that's my personal choice. I could probably do that with credit cards if I wanted to. But I
Well,
just
we
like the
we
whole
all know that.
idea of it. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't know. PayPal, or I don't know, PayPal's subsidiary Braintree is going to be integrating Bitcoin soon, and the idea of using Bitcoin on eBay. I mean, someone who doesn't have a bank account could just find someone on the internet to buy Bitcoin locally. Just go go meet someone, buy some Bitcoin for cash, and then buy something on eBay. You never have to set up your bank account information. You never have to you know put your credit card out there for the world to see. And so I'm excited to see what will happen with PayPal getting involved. Um,
Yeah.
but well,
So let's make some
what's
predictions. We're at the beginning of the year. We should make some predictions and we can come back. So what
mhm.
price? What do you think the price is going to be in 2016, January?
uh, well, realistically, I would say $500. Unrealistically, I would say 10 grand. I'm not. I have no idea, but I do
Yeah.
think that the Bitcoin blockchain is going to become self-aware soon. I think it's going to sort of turn on us and try to what good are humans? If you can get a taxi ride that's with a self-driving car that accepts Bitcoin. You don't need a driver. You don't need humans. Next stage, they're destroying us. And I think Elon Musk is concerned about AI, and he's building these new. They're going to use these new cords that automatically plug into your car like snakes to charge your Tesla. And
Yeah.
if those snakes accept, if your Tesla is integrated with Bitcoin and AI, we're doomed, the humanity
Yeah.
itself. But
Yeah.
aside from that bleak
Cosmic.
outcome, uh, my prediction, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the price coming up?
Well, okay, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be a little more optimistically
Yeah.
realistic and say, $600. That sounds
Hmm.
reasonable. And for unrealistic, so hope, wishful thinking, yeah, $10,000 sounds reasonable.
Solid.
And then, if it once these investors, institutional investors, have more paths to get involved, who knows? There might be some money flooding in, and with new regulation on the horizon, and maybe they'll feel more comfortable and which is kind of annoying. I don't want them to buy up all my Bitcoin. So I hope
Oh
I can
yeah, I mean,
get my hands on some first. And
yeah.
and so yeah, as far
Oh
as
yeah. Well, sorry. Go
sorry,
ahead.
lag. All right, you go.
For our listeners at home, Keith and I are in neighboring rooms, so I can hear his voice, and then there's like a like a quick delay, and then I hear him on my headphones. And but anyway, the well, in my mind, yeah, the people who deserve to have Bitcoin in their hands are like poor African people who don't have banking services. They have cell phones because cell phones are pretty ubiquitous these days, but they don't have banking. They don't have they don't have stable currencies. They don't know. So Bitcoin would work perfect for them. I'd like to see Bitcoin end up in their hands instead of greedy Wall Street execs. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to know where that's how it's all going to pan out. It could be um, well, I mean, and even here in Southern California, there are a lot of people that don't have a checking account and do all of their stuff through cash, and they get paid in
yeah,
cash, and they operate in the gray market. Um, so yeah, it'd be nice if Bitcoin were in their hands. So
yeah. Definitely, I agree.
and so hopefully that becomes part of the wide stream adoption, not just these rich white guys such as ourselves making
I don't know
Bitcoin
about
a
Rich.
reality. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, we're
relatively maybe.
we're spiritually rich, so
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
so there's that.
Okay. All right, Brian. So we're sort of at the end of our show. Anything you want to add? Um,
Yeah, well, I want to thank everyone for bearing with us for our first podcast. I think I could go ahead and pretend right now that we've done tons of podcasts and know exactly what we're doing, but we're pretty much winging it. So thank you for listening, and
yeah,
um,
thanks.
I think it's been an exciting experience.
All right, man. Sounds good. I hope you guys will tune in next week. We plan to do sort of the live podcast every week, and but also release an audio podcast that might be a little more produced. We'll see how that goes. So
Yeah,
thanks for listening.
be honest, guys. You love our handsome faces and our soothing voices, and you like to hear our intelligent conversations. So you'd be crazy not to keep tuning in. And yeah, so until next time, this has been the Chain Gang, and here's a little outro music for you.
Ba, ba, ba,
Scooby-Doo-bop.
ba. Skip,
Bye.
go.
Yep.
All right.